Hello, it is 7:30 on Friday, January 22nd, 2016, and the date is always the hardest thing for me to say, the time and date. I'm always like I have it in my head. I know what day it is. I know what time it is, and then I go to say it and it's like gone. What year is it? What month is it? Is it February? Is it July? I have no idea. Is it in the morning? Is it in the evening? I don't know. What day of the week is it? I think it's Tuesday. Oh, wait, no, it's Friday. Get this like pressure as soon as I'm like, you're supposed to say the time and date. What time is it? What day is it? Oh my God. There you go. A tiny little snippet of like my psychosis, if you want to call it that. Um, Me, what about me? I am doing good. Yesterday was super busy. I got a little bit of negative feedback, which was semi-justified, but only because there's not 100% clarity on a specific task, whose responsibilities are what everyone's deliverables are. Um, so my understanding of what my deliverable is was not on par with somebody else's understanding of what my deliverable was. So there was justification for the less than positive feedback that I received because there was a difference in our understandings. I did exactly what I believed I was supposed to do in the situation, but it turns out that what I thought I was doing and what this person thought they asked me to do were not the same thing. So I need to meet with them and have a clarification session, which is never fun. I'll be like, hi, this is what I'm doing for you. Are we clear? No misunderstandings? Okay, good. This is what I'm doing for you. In the future, I don't want to hear any flack that I didn't do this extra thing that you've never asked of me. Like, if you ask something of me and I failed to deliver, then of course it's my fault. If you didn't ask for it and you just assumed that you would get it as part of what you did ask for, that's a gray ground. That's kind of like morally, I don't know. Like, if you don't, I don't know. I have this problem a lot with my mother, who I love, but who has a tendency to, she doesn't want to have to tell you to do something. She wants you to just do it naturally, she always says, take initiative. You should just see that needs to be done and do it, which works if you realize that something needs to be done. But if you don't realize that something needs to be done or said or some action should be taken, then you're not going to be able to have the initiative to do it because you don't even realize that it's required in the first place. Like, it's really easy to see dirty dishes and be like, oh, the dishes need to be done, I'll do them. Or to see a pile of clothes and be like, oh, these clothes need to be folded, I'll fold them. But if it's a task that isn't so easily observable, then like, I don't know. It's one of my pet peeves, being expected to do something without being asked to do it. I'm perfectly happy to do things as long as I'm asked to do them. I'm not going to just randomly do a task because I'm a mind reader. Nobody's a mind reader. Anyway, what else is going on in my life? I'm going to a party tonight, and somebody else who's going to the same party, who is like an internet friend, like sort of. They started following me, and they seem interesting, but I don't really know them, and we've not had any personal contact, not had any exchanges of messages, we've never chatted. Like, I don't know this person. They do follow me, and I do see some of their stuff, and it doesn't seem terrible, but I would never say that we're even acquaintances. We're just like mutual follows. Like, we don't really know each other. Um, and they sent me a message being like, can I carpool with you to this party? And I said no, because I've never met them, because they're a gentleman. Even if they were a lady, even if it was another lady, I would have issues with the first time I'm meeting you is in a non-neutral location, especially like, okay, so I do have a lot of internet friends who I know for a long period of time and we have lots of conversations with, and then I go visit them. And the first time I meet them is when I'm going to go visit them. But those are very rare. Like, there are lots of people I know on the internet, and a handful of them I've actually gone to meet. Like, I can count on one hand the people I've gone to meet versus somebody who just is a random person who I've never really talked to, who I don't have like a close friendship with. It just, and like carpooling up to this event, which is 2 hours away. I don't want to get into the car with anybody I don't know and drive for 2 hours. It just seems like a bad situation. It seems like one of those things where they say, well, what happened was she met this person on the internet and got into their car, and they were supposed to go to a party, and now they're dead in Mexico. Like, it's just how I feel about the situation. Maybe that's just how I feel. I normally meet people first in real life and then get to know them and then be like, oh yeah, we're both going to the same party. Cool. You're a cool person. I know you enough. We'll carpool together. That sounds great. It's better for the environment. Anyway, like, I don't know. I feel like there should be. I hope they're not offended. If they do come to the party tonight, I told them if they come to the party tonight and we get on in person, then I wouldn't have a problem carpooling with them to another event. But for a first meetup, I just don't feel comfortable. End of story. I mean, you have to be safe. Somebody might seem nice on the internet, but if you haven't had prolonged contact with them, you never know. Because I've had people who I thought were really, really cool, and then we just got to talking, and like a month later, I was like, oh no, oh, oh, we can't be friends. Like, it's just, and other people you meet and you love, and you go fly frequently to the East Coast to see them. Or, to Ireland. But like, before I went and met my Irish gentleman, I knew him for over a year, and we talked every day, and I had a very firm understanding, and it wasn't like I was, I don't know, I put a lot of safeguards into that first trip. I'm not sure if I shared with you guys or not, but I was really nervous about going to meet him because you have really great compatibility with somebody in the online space doesn't mean that it'll translate directly into good compatibility in real life. I've gone and met probably 8 or 9 people who I was close with on the internet in real life. I've flown and I've met them like probably 8 or 9. And of those 8 or 9, one of them was a really bad fit. And I was staying with them for like a number of weeks. And it was such a bad fit. By the end of the visit, I was like, within a few hours of meeting this person, I was like, oh no, I have made a horrible mistake. Like the level of socially awkward that this person exhibited was like far beyond what I could handle. And I felt really terrible because she was just so, like, I didn't want to go out in public with her. She didn't know how to control her fanish side. We all have a fanish side. We all have this, oh, I love this thing and it's amazing. And this girl was just bonkers and like could not function as a I guess she was just really excited to see me and to be able to talk about these things with somebody in person. But it was not a good fit. And by the end of the visit, I was like, I didn't want to talk to her anymore. And we stopped being, such good friends. Because while we functioned very well in internet land, we did not function very well in real life. So I was concerned that perhaps my Irish gentleman would be another one of those incredibly socially awkward to the point where I can't be with them in public without feeling anxiety people, because I don't get caught up in what other people think of me. I have a pretty thick skin, but I do feel I don't like to make other people uncomfortable. I have this like, I really don't like to discomfort people around me. So I don't like talking loudly about things that might cause others discomfort. I just don't think it's polite. I think it's rude to speak loudly about things like that. So if somebody is speaking very loudly about, you know, something I consider a private topic, I get very twitchy. It's one of those, like, I'm not embarrassed so much as uncomfortable, and I'm afraid that I'm making, like, if I'm at a restaurant and there's a family with children seated nearby, I don't want my friend talking really loudly about the like super hot sex they had. Like, it's just, it makes me so uncomfortable because there's a child right there and the child shouldn't have to hear our conversation. Like, if you're not talking about something that's safe for public, then you shouldn't do that in an environment where somebody else is forced to, I, I don't know. I just have this. I have a lot of politeness issues. I just want to be always very polite, um, and considerate of others, and I'm very private. So these all tie together. So anyway, the point was that I was very concerned that perhaps my Irish gentleman and I would have some incompatibility that I hadn't foreseen. So what I did is, aside from picking, having my own hotel I was staying at, not staying at that gentleman's place, I put a break in the middle of it, so that I would go. He's in Dublin, so I'm in Dublin for 5 days, and then I would go to Galway for 4 days and come back to Dublin for the remainder of the trip for another 5 days. And I switched my hotels in the middle so that if he was problematic, then I could be like, okay, he doesn't know where my second hotel is. And I have a break in the middle where I can, like, you have 4 days with somebody, and that's enough time to get a good judge of, like, if you're gonna have problems or not. And then I could go away and come back and be safe, But I knew within less than an hour with him that that was not a problem. And then I was kind of a little resentful of the fact that I had included a trip to the opposite side of the country in the middle because that was less time I could spend with him. But you have to put these things up. You have to be safe. You have to be smart. You can't just go off with any which person and not have, oh, my first time flying to a foreign country, I'm going to stay in somebody else's house who I don't know and be completely reliant on them. And if they turn out to be super uber creepy, I'm screwed. I'm not that kind of girl. I like to have backup plans in place. So, yeah. Unfortunately for this particular person, they do not get to carpool with me and my no longer local gentleman. I mean, he's still my local no longer gentleman. Like, how do I phrase that? He's not. We're not partners, but he's still local. I don't know. I don't know. This has gotten pretty long and pretty rambly because I was talking about internet safety. So I'm going to call it here, and I'll probably see you all on Monday, unless something awesome happens over the weekend and I take a video of it.